Perfect. All right. How you guys doing today?
Good.
So
Good.
That was some fun stuff today. So now we know a little bit more about social media. And so it was funny. Jason was talking about how our feed is full. I was thinking the very same thing last night. I was like, this is awesome. I was just scrolling through, and you guys were just popping up all over the place. So it's really cool to see. So anyways, let's talk about open houses. Who's held an open house before? They can be a lot of fun, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they are fun.
Awesome. So I put together a little slide of how I do an open house, and I try to think it all the way through and kind of show you some best practices. So here we go. Oh, I got to share my screen first. Boom.
Joe, all you need is a little lake now for your outfit.
A lake?
Aloha.
A hula dancer next to him.
Oh, I can do the hula dance. All right, guys. So this is what we called how to engage an open house with Joe. Thanks for coming to my class. So first, why do we want to open an open house? There's a few reasons I could think of. The first is that we're going to show the house in the best light. We're doing that because we're representing the seller, or a nice agent has allowed us to hold one of their open houses. So we want to make sure we show it in the best light. But while we're there, we want to make sure that we can showcase our personal market expertise. We want to make contacts, and hopefully we want to make those contacts into clients. And so that's hopefully what we're going to go through and show some best practices and how to make that happen. So the very first thing is how to show home in the best light. Okay. So you're going to have to arrive early. You know, do you like this one? I thought that one really has a nice feature, the cow. And you see how they blended into the sky. So it's like a nice cloud, nice cow in the pasture under the cloudy sky. So that one definitely, they're showing that one in the best light, right?
Farmhouse right there.
Yeah. So you want to get there early. You know, homeowners, if it's not vacant and staged, homeowners probably are leaving out. They probably are getting out of their running behind. So you want to make sure that things aren't just laying out. You want to, if it is, you want to put it away. Make sure that the counters are clear of clutter. If beds aren't made, pull up make it look nice and presentable, because we're trying to create an experience is what we're trying to do with an open house. You know, a real successful open house to me is when a client comes in, maybe they grab one of your waters or one of your pastries, and they actually just kind of imagine their lives in that home. So if we've created that, we're doing a good job. And so to do that, we want to get there early and make sure like there isn't dishes on the counter and all that. Make sure that the house is comfortable temperature. So, you know, there's a lot of ways to do that. You know, if you go in there and it's a nice day, you know, but it's really hot, we can get there early. We can air it out. We can get some the breeze going through, set the therm. If it's, you know, oftentimes they're vacant, and you know, so if they're vacant and staged, you know, you should have it always set at a comfortable temperature to walk in, but get there early just to make sure. Sometimes homeowners are really weird about saving energy, so they won't have the heat on even if the house is vacant. So make sure the heat's on. You want to turn on all the lights. First impressions are really important. And so you want to, the worst thing to do, and I will tell you, when open houses are broadcasted, people are showing up before the agents, and it is really uncomfortable trying to get to an open house. You're usually on the phone, you're trying to carry everything in, you're trying to figure out how to unlock the door, and you got 5 people lined up behind you asking, you know, about the open house. And if you start your open house that way, you're never going to get caught up. You're going to feel like you're chasing the 8 ball, you're behind it, you know. So really, you want to get there early. This is probably, to me, the most important thing, so you can actually relax. So you turn on all the lights, make sure it's decluttered. And if you're going to do anything for ambience, you know, this is a good time to set it up. So, you know, sometimes we'll put like some nice, easy listening music on the TV. You know, if it's a winter day and you want to have a fire, you can put a fire in the fireplace for ambience, or turn on, if it's one of those gas ones, turn it on. You want to make sure though, if you're going to put anything in the fireplace, that it's an operating fireplace and you've cleared that with your clients first. Or if it's an agent that's letting you use their open house, you're clearing that with them as well.
Light candles. I always light candles.
Candles are good. I like the stuff that's more natural, like a candle's good. For me, if I go into a house and I smell those artificial air fresheners, it doesn't put me at ease. It makes me go into high alert. Like, what are they trying to hide here? Where's the water coming in? Where's the musky dog smell? Like, what are we trying to hide here? But candles, things that are like, natural smelling, that's really comforting, and it just puts people at ease when they walk in. We'll get more into it, but sometimes, when right now, I know we're shifting gears as more inventory is going to come on. How we approach an open house is going to be, really important. And so, when the market was different and we were going to really have time to engage with our clients, we would bake cookies. It's a nice treat to have, but it smells really good. It slows people down. I mean, breaking bread in the kitchen is, that transcends all barriers. And so then we can start having these conversations. But so you're there early to get the house ready. Now that you got all the lights on and everything, now you're probably wondering, what do I need at the check-in table? Is that what you guys are wondering?
Yeah.
Awesome. Perfect. So here we go. I'm glad you asked. You like my transitions? I made some nice flyers here, or nice slides here. I made sure to put in some cool transitions. They've got the real wow effect. That's what I was going for.
You did awesome, Joe. You did
So what I
awesome.
need at an open house, thanks, Cindy. What I need at an open house is, I want to have flyers available. When people walk in, it's something that stops them. Again, we're always trying to interrupt the message. We're always trying to slow them down, because people are conditioned for many reasons that they're just going to get in and out. We really want to slow them down. And you know what? If you go to a million open houses, half the agents are just playing on their phone. They're just it's like they're punching a clock. They're just there. They're not doing themselves any service. They're definitely not doing the homeowner any service. And any potential buyers, they're not getting treated with professionalism. We want to change that message. And so, you want to have flyers. And so as they come in on there, you want to have a sign-in sheet. You can do it manually by paper, but I put a link in here right now, guys. This is a link, and what it will do is it'll create this page right here. And so you can have this on a tablet. You can have this on your phone. This is through Ylopo. But when you go in, they can just QR code that right there, and it gives all their info, and they're all checked in. And so you have that right into Ylopo. So it'll go right into your leads. And so that's a real nice thing if you don't have a paper one. I would still have a paper one as backup, just in case somebody is old school like my dad and doesn't want to learn how to use technology. So it's good to have both, but the most common person is just going to want to scan it. Now, this, you might get some brushback from people and being like, I'm not signing in, or I already got an agent. It's okay. Again, they're just conditioned. It's kind of like me when I go to the car lot. I really want help. I actually want to be pushed into a decision that I've already made in my mind, but I just am immediately going to say, I'm just looking. I don't need your help. I just condition that way. So if we can interrupt that, here, have a flyer. There's some highlights I'd like to point out. And by the way, I need you to sign in before you tour the home. Oh, I'm not going to do that. Oh, I understand. Really, we're just doing this for the protection of the homeowner. It's liability reasons. We need to know who's been through here. So if you're not here with an agent, I really need you to sign in. Feel free to have yourself a water and enjoy the tour of the home. It's really non-threatening. We don't fight them here. We just let them know that it's for that. And oh, by the way, how'd you hear about my open house? Cool. So I'm getting ahead of myself here.
Joe, do you ever order the home books for the open houses?
I don't. And I'll tell you why. The times I have ordered them, they came after the house got sold.
I remember you telling me that. That's right.
But they're cool. I mean, I do look through them sometimes when I'm in a home, but I myself have not made a habit of ordering them. We have so much marketing material and stuff that, and I think what you can do one better than that, and I'm going to get to that in a second. You can do one better. It's right here. You should have a CMA. I would rather see an agent that has a CMA than a neighborhood book myself. I can look on my phone in 2 seconds and see, oh, okay, it's in this school district. I can drive the neighborhood and see, okay, there's this restaurant and this restaurant. And so I would rather show my worth as an agent by having a CMA of comparable properties. Because remember, anybody that's looking at this house is going to be looking at the same comps in the neighborhood. Or if they live in the neighborhood, they're going to want to see that, wow, this guy showed up prepared for his open house. We weren't really thinking about selling our house, but seeing what the market's doing on the news. We just had our grandkid down in Vancouver. I could take an early retirement. All these things are happening in people's lives. And they're like, holy crap, Cindy's open house has like people out the door. We need to talk to her. We probably don't want to move for 5 years, but we should talk to her. And next thing you know, Cindy's at the table with them, signing a paper, and it's going live in 2 weeks because she was able to say, look, man, I had 9 offers. We got 80,000 over ask because she was prepared. And so having a CMA with you is going to be a critical thing. And I think that's going to add way more value than a home book. Also, a home book is not very engaging. It's going to showcase, in my opinion, it's going to showcase the title company. And it's another reason for us of agents to check out. If we're showing up, man, we're showing up. We're showing up with a plan, not to check out. All these little things help me to just engage on my phone, play Wordle, because it's a real tough word today. And, oh, hey, by the way, if you have any questions, let me know. That's not an effective open house. But if I'm able to say, hey, Josiah, thanks for coming. Oh, you live in the neighborhood? Check this out. Can you believe this house sold for that much? Oh, you didn't know that? Yeah, it's crazy, right? Oh, you just came from touring this house? Yeah, it's got one more bedroom, but man, did you smell that? Or, just if you know the market, that's going to speak a lot more than these home books. But that's my opinion. It's I wasn't really planning on going down that road, Cindy. But I was just kind of thinking about the advantages of it and the disadvantages. Now, if you can still engage with them and show it to them, and it's good for people to walk through. So yeah, so that's my take on the home books. You should always have a notepad or a form of and if you're all digital, that's great. I'm kind of old school. So as I'm putting this together, I just kind of think of my practices. Maybe you're really good at just putting it in your phone, whatever the case is, be ready to take notes. There's going to be questions you don't know. And that's actually a good thing. I mean, you guys hear me reference like the Columbo a lot. I try to not know too much about too many things, but enough to know where I can get the resources, because sometimes I want to have a reason to circle back with you. Hey, Terry, you know what? That's a great question about that. I know they said they did something to the roof and I cannot remember. Let me give them a call and find out if it's 1 layer or 2 layer, and I'll circle back with you, or I'll circle back with your agent. Don't be off put. If they tell you they have an agent, I'm getting ahead of myself again. I'm not good at following my own slides. I try to make it pretty. And then I was realizing this morning, I'm like, wow, I haven't even done the walkthrough.
And another thing.
Okay. So now the house is ready. So what do? This is where the fun begins. You lock the house up. You leave all the lights on so it still looks inviting. If you've got something in the oven, make sure you pulled it out before you leave. Now you're going to go put signs out in the neighborhood. We don't want to be a secret. We want people to come. And so putting signs out the day of is important because people probably drive by on autopilot all the time. So if you put it out a week before, they're probably going to tune it out. If you put it out the day of, people are going to be seeing you. They're out touring houses. The sun's going to start coming out. People are going to start getting their cold brew, listening to music, going for cruises, looking for open houses. So they'll start to see the signs, there was one time, I think they said put 50 signs out. I could be making that number out, but you should put out anywhere between 8 to 25 signs. We use a combination of A boards and directionals. So you should put those out. When you get to the home, what I like to do is I put one of my A boards over the actual sign. So on the sign post, I'll put the A board over it on the open house side, and I'll take all the flyers out of the box. Why do you think we take the flyers out of the box?
And they got to come inside.
Exactly. We want them to come to the open house. We want engagement. This is important, man. I hate it when I drive up to an open house to go preview it and the agent's parked in the prime parking spot. To me, that's really kind of rude. But also it's not serving it's the agent serving himself. It's not serving his clients or the potential buyers that are coming to the home. Make sure that there's parking at the house. This being said too, safety measures. I know Jason mentioned on Tuesday that they've put a beacon in. Let people know where you're at, especially if it's a sketchy place. Trust your guts. have your phone close always. I have not myself had any bad experiences with open houses, but I'm also a 300-pound guy. I don't know too many things that have happened, but people are out there and they're not all good, doing good things. So make sure you have a plan. Be aware of who's in the house. Don't just let a million people in and have your back turned and not think about it. Be aware. This is important. Okay. So parking away from the house. Now open the house. I put open house. That threw me off. Now open the house and allow the neighbors in. Any questions so far? All right. Let the open begin. Whew. Howdy, neighbor. Anybody know what this picture is?
Yep, that's from Tim Taylor, the Tool Man's show. What's his name? The neighbor.
Yeah, I can't remember the name. But I actually literally was excited to find this. Wilson, yeah. I saw Jason last night and I told him there's going to be a flashback. I don't know how many people that are going to be on the call will know this reference. Do you know this reference, Josiah?
Wait, like Mr. Wilson, like the neighbor, and then wasn't there like a bad guy, like a homeless man?
No, it was
okay.
What was it called? Tim the Tool Man. What was the show called?
Home Improvement?
Yeah, Home Improvement.
Oh,
So that was the neighbor, and you never saw his face.
One of my favorite shows. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. So the neighbor would always just talk over the fence, and you never saw his full face. Howdy,
My
neighbor.
parents like that. I did not try to partake in watching that. I was always bored by it.
Yeah. All right. So we've opened up, and now we're allowing the neighbors to come in early, right? Make sure to engage with them. If you guys remember, the reason why we circle prospect and all these things, there's a couple reasons. Neighbors are talking to people. Neighbors have people that want to move into the neighborhood. Neighbors are renting in the neighborhood they want to stay in. And most importantly, I don't know what's the most important, but neighbors might be future sellers. And they're gonna formulate opinions based off of how you're doing at the open house. If you're just kind of looking at your phone, letting them walk in because they're just a neighbor, they're probably not going to be too impressed. If you greet them and use scripts, like Jason had a really good script last night, and I wished I had it written down. Are you with us at all, Jason? It's okay if you're not. Okay. But basically you really want to
here.
Could you, I kind of put the gist of that script in here. Do you have that handy?
For meeting the neighbors.
Yeah. I loved what you said yesterday about, the 6 to 7 buyers and,
Yeah. Hold on a sec.
Okay, well, he's looking that up because I just totally put him on the spot. But it's like, so you really want to talk with these neighbors. You're making a special deal out of inviting them early. They think they're special, but you're going to ask them, what do you think this home will sell for?
Well, plus it'll directly affect the value of their home, and they'll be interested in that.
Exactly. And that's and so you also will talk to them about, if there's 6 to 7 offers, that means there's 5 or 6 people that aren't going to buy this home. And let's see here. And so you'd ask if they would sell if somebody would buy their home for that much. And then you set up a follow-up with them after the open.
Yeah.
Oh, whoops. Trigger fingers, what is going on? Look, I just love the transitions.
Cool, Joe.
Okay. All right. So while he's looking that up, we're going to move on for now.
Joe is on a roll.
Exactly. Okay, here they come. Now what?
You hide
Again,
underneath the bed.
What's that?
Don't hide underneath the bed when they come.
That's true. Don't lock them out and wave at them. Eating your cookies. Okay, so here they come. So again, I just want to reiterate, we need to have everybody sign in. This is for liability reasons. This is, this also helps us collect data, but it's just really important that we set that bar on getting the habit of it. Hand them a flyer, tell them of the highlights. Say, hey, you know what? I don't want to take you away from touring the house, but I don't want you to miss in the garage. They've got the epoxy floor and built-in shelves. It's okay to give them a couple of tips, but don't control the tour. Let them go through. It's just like when we're showing houses to potential buyers on just showings. we don't dictate the way they walk through the house. We want to let them naturally see what they're going to see, be aware of things that maybe they didn't notice, and point those out. It's the same thing, when you walk in, I'm going to give you a flyer. Hey, my name is Joe. This is my listing. My sellers are really excited that you're here. They wanted to make sure to let you know that the shed in the backyard is going to stay. The hot tub's going to be pulled, and that they just did the epoxy, and the roof's got a 50-year warranty on it. Feel free to have a look around, grab yourself a water retreat, and let me know if you have any questions. Oh, by the way, please sign in. Nobody's going to fight you on that. You can't say nobody. I got to get away from absolutes, but most people are not going to fight you on that.
I think a lot of people are kind of getting used to it too. If they go to open houses, because most everybody's doing that now.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to go back to this slide. Okay. So I loved this yesterday. And we can work on this, but here's the script that here, I'll pull it over. Here's the script that Jason was sharing with me. Do you really think this place will sell for X amount of dollars? Well, we have a number of buyers looking at the property, and from my experience, we'll have created a bidding war by the end of this week. If we end up with 5 to 7 qualified buyers, only one of them can win. So we're going to have a handful of people willing and able to buy in this neighborhood. Have you given any thought to selling? Isn't that great?
Yeah.
It's really non-threatening too, because remember, this is early entry. The neighbors aren't going there to buy the house. They're going there to snoop, maybe kind of see who you are and why you're in their neighborhood. And maybe they have some questions that they're embarrassed to ask in front of people, like about credit or they have plans that they're just kind of tiptoeing around, but haven't given it any life. And so they're just going to come there really relaxed. And so it's just a real conversation. Josiah, do you think this house is going to sell for this much money?
Yes.
Yeah, it probably will. Unfortunately, my experience shows that there's going to be a lot of people willing to pay that amount, and we'll probably have 5 to 7 buyers. Buyers that are qualified to buy in this neighborhood that's willing to pay this price. That means that only one can win. Have you ever thought about selling at that price? I mean, it's really non-threatening. All right, so we're back at the open. It's not clicking now. There we go. Got the neighbors. Okay. So ask them if they're working with an agent. A lot of the times they'll tell you they're working with an agent and they're not. But that's okay. You can say, if you have any questions, I can follow up with your agent. Don't be threatened by that. It's an opportunity to build a rapport. The very first client I ever got out of an open house, honestly, he said he had an agent. Everybody said they had an agent. And I just had this weird thought. I said, hey, I'm a real new agent and I love working open houses. And I actually love touring houses with my buyers. How did you pick your agent? And why aren't they on tour with you? And I didn't say much more than that. And I just, at the end of that open house I think it was on a Saturday. So on Monday, I emailed everybody thanking them for coming in. And this guy called me and said, you're the only person that's followed up and I can't get a hold of my agent. I don't even know how to get approved. He didn't want to talk about that at the open house. And so I had him in a consult with my lender that day. And by the end of the week, we were in contract. They don't always work out that way, but I didn't know. I didn't know enough to not ask questions. And so we really want to be there and engaging with clients. Or not clients, they're just customers at this point. They're just people touring the house. It's an opportunity to make a connection and turn it into a client. Again, you want to talk to them about the activity in the area. If they're looking at this house, they're looking at other houses. Or at this point too, what I've noticed with a lot of buyers I'm in contact with is that they're stuck in price points. And so their areas might be extremely different. So you might see somebody holding an open house in Everett and the very next weekend in Tacoma. But being seen multiple times by people shows you that you're busy and active in this business. And so, you might build relationships just by seeing people come through and tour. People build their whole business on open houses. This is one tool that some agents lean everything on. They have fun. They make a big production, a big party about it. But talk about the activity in the area and show them the comps. show them your CMA. You know, if it were me, I would have it on a tablet ready to go out of Cloud CMA. It's very beautiful. I can email it right to them and say, hey, would you like this sent to you? Cool. Now you've got permission to engage with them again and a reason to follow up. Yeah, allow them to walk through the house, take any notes of questions they have, and get back to them. Always get back to them. And if they say, oh, I'm working with my agent, get their agent's information. Start building bridges with agents. They might be bringing you the winning offer. Or as the market shifts, as we see in the earlier morning, there was only one offer on a house. Now you can actually start engaging with people and make it a lot easier on offer review day. Maybe somebody came to the house and saw 50 people at the open, and so they were too intimidated to make the offer, but they're well qualified in the winning offer. You just need to reach out and touch them. Okay. Let guests know you will be following up with them for appropriate action based off of what they discover, i.e. a buyer's consult. So, you know, hey, Terry, thanks for coming today. That's awesome that you're just starting your home search. You know, I work with a lot of first-time home buyers. I've got a whole team that's really good with that. You know, I know you're trying to just look at houses today. Let's grab a cup of coffee next week. My treat. I'll reach out to you. Let's set up a buyer's consult. Let me explain how the market is. You know, I'll go over this CMA in more detail. I'll show you what it looks like to buy in this market and how I can advocate for you. Those are the conversations you're going to start happening when you're showing up prepared. When you show up like right at open house time and you're trying to get the sign out as everyone's pulling up, I'm telling you, I've done that too. You're never going to feel settled. And for myself, I feel like I left and I feel bummed. Like I feel like I let down the agent that let me host their open house. I didn't represent the sellers well. And it's just not an esteemable thing. When I show up prepared and I'm excited to be there and I'm engaging with people, like the time goes by fast. It's a whole different experience. And I have calls to action afterwards. So did I miss anything here? Yeah, ask them how they found out about the open. That's another, you know, these are fact-finding questions. You might tell me you have an agent, but if I ask you then, so how'd you hear about our open? And you say, oh, I look on Redfin and I know that they don't have an active agent. I don't have to call their agent out. That's not good practice. I can just elevate their standards, elevate their expectations. I now all of a sudden have their information and I can email them. Hey, thanks for coming to the open house. I'm going to be holding another open house next week at another address. Would you mind if I shared that information with you? Did you tell your agent about that open house? Well, you know, I just met him one time because I used the Redfin app and he let me in. He said he'd be my agent, but I actually like how you work. Oh, cool. Did you sign any contracts? No. All right. You really don't have an agent. I would love to show you what I can offer you. So now we're having these questions. So now we've talked about people in this open house. If we've done it effectively, we've had both opportunities to pick up buyers and sellers. When somebody walks into an open house and they see that you've just hit it out of the park, they're like, that's who I want to sell my house. Let's see here. Okay, here's some bonus tips. Invite a lender. Some of these open houses, okay, if it's slow, now you have a lender and you can role play while you're there. You can figure out how you two can actually go about getting business. You can strategize. If it's busy, they can help you with the overflow. They can collect apps right there and get people pre-approved. Leave a thank you card for the seller if it's your client. Also follow up with an email or a call or both of the activity that was there, good or bad. Keep them informed. Let's say that we missed the mark and we don't have anybody in the open house. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just an opportunity to call and engage with your clients. Source local baked goods. I know Ashley really is an advocate of this, but you know, you can use this as an opportunity to showcase other businesses if you want. You know, oh, you know what? My niece, she just started a cupcake shop. I brought some in, have one, or I'll eat them all by the end of the open house, and then I'll be in a sugar coma. That's how I do stuff. I'm a little humorous. Well, at least I think I'm humorous. You know, that's just my style. I engage that way, you know. Some people are more a matter of a fact, and that's okay too, you know. But yeah, you know, have a treat there. Again, that's going to interrupt this message of I got to get in and out. All of a sudden you're inviting me to stay. And maybe if I was just trying to get through because I feel pressured because people are coming behind me, people are in front of me, But if I feel like I could stay, I might sit for a minute and I might look out and be like, oh man, I know this is only a 3,000 square foot lot on paper, so it wasn't going to work, but look at that green belt behind there. It's like a field and I don't even have to pay taxes on it. Now I'm seeing stuff. You know what? That couch I want to get, that's going to look really nice in that living room. You know, hey, do you have any offers on this house, Jason? Oh, okay. You have 2 pre-inspects lined up. Now they're asking me questions. What do I got to do to get this house? You know, I really didn't think this was going to work for me. Now they're all of a sudden relaxed. So we're creating this experience in this environment where people want to be there. One of my open houses, I kid you not, is it was about 4 blocks from where I live now. It was just this little it was a little cinder block open Mount Lake Terrace blocker home that he had done a major update inside, and he put a 3-bay. You couldn't call it a garage because you could. I mean, it was a garage, but you couldn't get your car there. He was a woodworker. But this open house, man, it was so crazy. Neighbors were over there telling stories to people coming in. You know, I was out walking the house, showing people the garage, and I came out, and one of the neighbors was baking cookies because she saw that I had them there. You know, now that's a little unruly and probably wouldn't go over well for most cases, but I'm just letting you know that these can be fun and engaging. Yeah, have a partner agent available to show. You know, in a market like this, when things are crazy and you're going to have a lot of people, it can be really overwhelmed. You know, you're not able to slow down and talk to everybody like you want to, but if you have somebody there that can help you out, that's great. And then when Ashley comes through and is like, you know what, I was getting ready to write an offer on this other house, but I wanted to come look at your house. I'm going to write that other house, I think, but I don't have an agent. Now, all of a sudden you have somebody that can break off and go write an offer. Or I want to write this offer now. You got your lender there. Those are some of the best practices and tips that I've come up with. And here's the most important. The theme is to remember to have fun. If you're having fun, it's infectious. If you don't want to be there, it's obvious. You know, Tree had a cool story about meeting a buyer at a house when he was with other people, and that's a story for another day. But one of the things I did at one time, because I didn't know better, I had clients that wanted to write up an offer on a house, and we were on our way to do that. But there was 2 houses in the neighborhood that we wanted to use for a comp, and they were holding open. So we decided to go through and just double check just to make sure they're ready to write this offer. And while we were there, I was talking intelligently to my buyers about this open house. The guy hosting the open house, he really was just sitting there playing on his computer, a video game, and not paying attention to the open house. It was really weird. And it was a pretty active one. And when I walked out, a young couple followed me and said, "It sounds like you know this neighborhood really well. We haven't found an agent yet. Could you help us?" While I'm with buyers that I'm writing an offer for. And, you know, I didn't even know how to handle that, because I know this idea of love the one you're with. Like, you don't abandon the clients you're with to pick these people up. But we were able to exchange info, and, you know, I ended up selling him and his wife a home about a month later. And so it wasn't my open house. So what I'm saying is, when you're there, be alert. Buyers are there and they want help. They just don't know how to get the help. And so you're that beacon that's calling out to them like, here, I'm a resource. You want to sell? I got you. You want to buy? I got you. Oh, you want to know about that house down the road? Oh, I'll show you that one. It's right here. Actually, I did some comps on it. It's one of my comps. Oh, you don't know how to get pre-approved? Well, I got my lender right here, or my lender's on speed dial. Let's get this going. We're in a now business. And what's happened is that with the pandemic and with the flood of agents, some of these practices have gone to the wayside. And so if you start bringing these tactics into the forefront of your business and being mindful of how you're showing up, then you're going to excel. You're going to pick up buyers. You're going to pick up sellers. You're going to grow your business. And you know what? It might not be a today deal, but you're going to start collecting this data and growing your database, you know. And we just signed a listing earlier this week, and it's somebody that's just been in our database for 4 or 5 years. You've got to get that data to get that database going. And this is a very easy way to do that. If you're not picking up 3 to 5 contacts at an open house, you're probably not fully engaged and showing up in this market, because those buyers are out there. Those sellers are out there. Oh, let's see. So that's the slides I have prepared for you guys today. And let me turn this off and we can have, do you want me to back up to any of them, or I can turn the screen share off and you can see my beautiful face?
Yeah, your mortgage one reminded me of one we did. We had an open house. I was at an open house in Monroe actually, and I remember the buyers came in and they had an agent and they had financing, and they wanted to compete on this house. And through the course of meeting them and talking to them, their agent left. And they kind of were talking to me and they're like, we really want to get something going on this house, but we're not ready yet. And I'm like, okay, well, no problem. I have a lender that's always ready. And, and they're like, well, I don't really want to just use some random lender. But I'm like, well, I mean, you either have lender you can't get a hold of, or you have lender that you can get a hold of. I give them the story. He's our trusted team advisor, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, long story short, we get him pre-approved that day. They make an offer, write up the deal, and I get both sides of the house because we're there, we're prepared, we have the strategy. So you will get business out of open houses if you're prepared and willing to engage, and that's the big deal. And it really does start with honestly, it starts with getting them signed in. If you don't take control and right away from the get-go, if you don't kind of present yourself as the, I am the person that's leading this open house, they're just going to kind of feel like, whatever, I can just walk in and out, and there's no obligation there. So I need to create some sort of an obligation, like, hey, look, here's the deal. This is an open house. Yes, but we need you to sign in. And then you can go ahead and look, but I'm going to, engage with you. We can see if we can build a relationship. And if you do it in that manner, and like Joe said, there's really, especially nowadays, we're getting 20 people through open houses in a weekend, 10, 15 a day. You should be able to get 5 of those easy: name, phone number, and email address, right? And if you're not doing that every single open house, you're seriously, you're wasting your time. 3 hours gone, in my opinion.
I agree 100%. And also people have gotten complacent of not holding their own opens. I get calls all the time, but luckily you guys always want to do our open houses, but I get calls from people from other brokerages. You don't have to work at this brokerage, that brokerage, to hold the open. Call agents, start looking on Thursday and say, hey, I see that you just got this listing. Do you have anybody holding open for you? I would love to. Start finding a neighborhood you want to work through. And that's an activity you guys can do too. Start looking at a neighborhood that you want to work in and watch for opens or listings to pop up, and reach out and introduce yourself to those agents and see if you can hold their opens. We
you can do Friday night opens, right? Like, let's say they even have something planned for the weekend. Call them up. Hey, can I do a Friday night open for you? Right. Most people, if it's a vacant or staged house, most agents, I would say yes, for sure. Right. I'm like, yes, please. You want to hold it open? I wouldn't mind if it was open 24/7 all week long. So most agents will say, yeah, go for it. And just, remember that your job at an open house is not necessarily to sell the house. Right. That's a good side benefit. Of course, you want to know about the house. And I think one of the things that Joe might have missed there is just making sure you really have a great understanding of the home when you get there early. So walking around, taking a look at, Josiah, like what we've been talking about, you should know about the roof. You should know about the crawl space. You should know about the water heater. You should know about the furnace. You should know about the plumbing, and you should know about the electrical. And then any sort of HOA stuff, or some neighborhood stuff, right? Because if they come in and they're like, oh, hey, what kind of roof is this? And you're like, then credibility gone, right? Let me go look at the roof real quick. Hold on. So make sure you do that before people get there, is if you can answer those questions. Hey, what's the HOA on this? And I'll tell you what, here's where you get the very best information. Okay. When you go door knocking on Friday,
Yeah, right.
you're going to meet one or two neighbors that are going to talk your ears off. But you know what they're going to tell you? All the cool little interesting things about the neighborhood. Then when the open house comes, you're like, oh, remember when Darcy sold her house over here because she got mad at Jim because he wouldn't let her have, you know, da 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 da. And people are like, whoa, you know so much about this neighborhood. Like, yeah, I'm, you know, kind of the expert, right? But you will learn just these crazy little things from the neighbors, almost without a doubt, every single time. There's one neighbor that will give you these juicy little tidbits, you know. Stuff like rezoning and you know, who's moved recently, or you know, what little spats are in the neighborhood. And people like I wouldn't probably talk about spats really, because I'm not, you know, that's probably not the information, but you'll learn that stuff and you can kind of take that information and reshare it. But that's where you get the real good stuff.
And those people are, you can bet, are coming to your open house. They're going to remember you, and they're going to make you look great in front of everybody too, because you engaged with them. You got to remember too, some people have just had like no social life. And so they're chomping at the bit to get out and say hi to people. You know, it happens seasonally too. When spring starts approaching, people are in a lighter mood, but you add that with masks coming off and all this stuff, people are going to be out and engaging in a way that they haven't in a while. So you can have fun in that too. Don't be scared to have fun at your own open house. Anybody have any questions, feedback, add tos, takeaways? All right. Well, if so, you
Good
can reach
info,
out.
Joe. Thank you.
What's that?
That
Oh,
was good
thanks.
info. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Tree, have a good one. You guys, thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, Joe.
Yep.
Thank you.
Do I
Bye.
need to stop recording? Yeah, there we go.